very good morning and welcome to Queen's Park in Chesterfield. Morning, Doidgy.
Good morning,
See, I've switched you on at the right time. What an hour and a half we could have in store here. Derbyshire need 4 wickets for their first win of the season in the County Championship Second Division. Yorkshire, well, they need 65 runs for their first win of this season. But it goes back a bit further than that, and Doidgy will fill you in on that. Dawid Malan is running out with Shan Masood, and ordinarily that would be terrifying from a Derbyshire perspective. But the pitch, well, it's going up and down, as they say. Poor old Johnny Tattersall got one yesterday. It actually went underground and came back up and knocked into his pad. I think it was that low. It was ridiculous. So we're in for a very exciting 45 minutes, hour and a quarter. What do you think?
I think, yeah, we should do our level best
to
try and reflect that.
Try and do it justice, absolutely. Well, both of us are slightly out of practice with calling wins, so that could be a challenge at some point.
Yeah, what is that? That win thing. Looking forward to it. I mean, I think what we want us doing this job particularly is something worthwhile and exciting to talk about, and especially in 4-day games. You know, you don't always get that. Sometimes you'll get those landslide victories, sometimes you'll get the draws that seem to go on forever, but this is a match that has been fantastic, really, hasn't it? From 111 all-out Derbyshire in the first innings, Yorkshire building a massive and apparently match-winning lead, Derbyshire then giving Yorkshire a very tricky-looking chase, and Derbyshire making that chase look even trickier by taking 3 wickets in the final 14 minutes of play yesterday for just 7 runs. So set up superbly for, as you say, a good hour or so of cricket. Do you think Dawid Malan will go on the charge from ball 1 or play himself in, says Mighty Mariners? I suspect the latter, because they do still have all day if they want to take it to try and get to this total.
Looking forward to the quick single. Mark Watt to complete the over he started last night. The first delivery is caught. Malan has gone. He's been caught at short leg as he tried to sweep it round the corner. That is absolutely remarkable. It's a hat-trick ball coming up for Mark Watt, because he took a wicket with the last ball last night and he's taken a wicket with the first ball today. Malan goes for obviously for naught. First ball.
Wow. Well, I don't think there can be any more up and down in this game when you see something like that. He was away from the ground for much of, I think all of yesterday. He's had to wait until late on to come in because of that groin niggle. We're not going to find out whether or not he's able to move freely between the wickets, because he's on his way back and having such a glorious record against Derbyshire. I'm sure massive Yorkshire hopes were pinned on him coming up with at least something out there. And so 3 wickets now for Derbyshire to win this, and still 65 runs for Yorkshire to win it. It was just a typical first ball dismissal in that he's not got an error of judgment, isn't it, really? He's not been able to control the shot. He's just lifted it straight into his hands. I mean, it was almost as if it was just a bit of catching practice in the playground with a tennis ball. Yeah,
it didn't give me a chance to say they need to nip one of these out early. But believe me, I would have said it if I'd had time. Don Bess is the new batsman. It was Matt Lamb at short leg. I omitted to say that in the commentary, and forgive me for that. I was still trying to work out where everybody was. Matt Lamb at short leg. A wicket falls to the first ball of the day. This game continues to surprise, and I'm going to have to leave it with you, Dodgy, for a couple of minutes.
Of course, they will call him back because it was before 11 o'clock when he was dismissed. 10:59, I think, on my watch, and Kate is nodding in agreement. So Don Beck.
So we've got an update, the first update of the day. Derbyshire at the start of play required 4 wickets. They now require 3 wickets, and Mark Watt is on a hat-trick. A wicket with the final ball last night, and a wicket with the first ball of day 4. Short leg, 2 slips, silly mid-off, surrounding Don Bess. Perfect start for Derbyshire. Watt is in around the wicket and bowls to Bess, who drives very pleasantly out into the offside. It's fielded of a fashion by Lewis Rees. I think it might have bounced into his face, but he's stopped it, and that's all that matters, really. I'm going to follow Mick the Chops Wallace, who's just won a medal in the Beer and Moustache Championships, I think. Mark Watt didn't get the hat-trick. He's on his way in. He's bowling from the pavilion end, in and bowls. And again, the sweep is attempted, and again it fails. It goes through to Brooke Guest behind the stumps. I told you I'd follow that. Well, Yorkshire still needs 65 runs to win, Sally, but Derbyshire only need 3 wickets now. They've got one with the first ball of the day. Dawid Malan caught at short leg by Matt Lamb off the bowling of Mark Watt, who also took a wicket from the final ball yesterday evening. So he was on a hat-trick. He didn't manage to complete it, but the perfect start for Derbyshire this morning. Dawid Malan gone for naught first ball. Yorkshire 147 for 7, need a further 65. Derbyshire need 3 wickets.
Just trying to sweep one around the corner and just gifted it into the hands of Matt Lamb. So
good to see Don Besser took notice of that and tried the same shot himself.
First blood on the final day to Derbyshire. Welcome along as well to 5 Sports Extra listeners. Yorkshire 147 for 7, still needing the 65 they needed overnight to win. Derbyshire, though, needing 1 wicket fewer. And Alex Thompson, we assumed it would be spin that would be trying to bring about the death of Yorkshire again here, and he's going to be bowling to his former captain, Shan Masood.
And Masood, first delivery, just takes an edge and goes down to backward point where it's fielded by Ben Aitchison. I don't think we'll see any other bowlers than these two, in all honesty. The ball is clearly turning, it's keeping low on occasion. And if I throw in a couple of poor shots as well, Derbyshire could well pick up their first win of the season. Thompson bowls, and that one is off an inside edge out towards mid-on. Harry Kane slides to try to do the fielding, but can't prevent the run from being scored. 64 now to win.
He clearly just kept them at 1 there, but again, he didn't get his hand cleanly on that. There's been a lot of fumbles in this match, hasn't there, in the outfield? A lot of them. Some of them have cost runs. One's cost a boundary, I think.
Harry Kane yesterday evening actually went straight through his legs, didn't it? And at that point, I think it was before those 3 wickets in 14 minutes. And at that stage, it looked like, is it all unravelling? But Derbyshire, who have consistently had to fight back in this game, fought back again last night and struck early today. So it's Yorkshire's turn to fight. And Don Bess will be on strike. Slip, leg slip, short leg for the orthodox off spin of Alex Thompson. 2 for 30 so far. And he's in from the lake end to bowl to Best. Sends it into the leg side, straight to the Matt Lamb under the lid. And there's no run. There's also it's a sort of deepish backward point. Zach Chappell, who is the concussion replacement for Saranga Lakmal. All sorts of confusion over that yesterday. Thompson's in again, ball using his feet this time. Best, and he's been stumped, has he? No, he missed a stumping there. He couldn't take it cleanly. He's destroyed the stumps, incidentally. That is very much a Brooke Guest thing. Don Best took 2 steps down the track, missed the ball completely, but it also was missed by Brooke Guest. By the time he got it in his gloves, Best was back, having flailed his bat in the air, and the stumps are everywhere.
Brooke Guest just making sure that the bails were off. And the Stokes,
I think they came off. Broken. I definitely think they came off. I think he's actually broken the stumps, actually broken them. Thompson in again, bowls, and that one is clipped into the leg side, little aerially, but not to a fielder directly. Well, it is fielded by Leas Deploy, who's fielding at mid-wicket. Not be much time for talking between deliveries, as the next one is in from Thompson, this time pushed out into the offside. Kane does the fielding, and the first full over of the day is completed rather needlessly. It says overs remaining 95. We certainly won't get anywhere near those. 64 runs to win. Yorkshire now at 148 for 7. Derbyshire need 3 wickets. Both sides looking for their first win of the season in the county championship, and meet again on Sunday here in the T20 as well. Glorious scene. There's not a cloud in the sky up above us. We have had some torrential rain on a couple of days, right at the close of play, days 1 and 2. When I say torrential, I mean torrential.
Yeah, fairly hefty.
It was heavy, heavy, wasn't it? It was heavy.
It were heavy. So Mark Watt is going to bowl left arm over the wicket at the left-handed Shan Masood with one slip and a short leg in place. And he fires that in right up there. Masood solidly behind it. There's no run. Tension mounts. Leas Deploy is feeling just off the cut strip to the leg side of straight as Masood sweeps this one firmly, but there is a man at deep backward square, and that is Rees, who does the fielding, and they are through for 1. So 2 added by Yorkshire so far this morning. Shan Masood on to 70, 149 for 7.
You'd think he was the key, really, wouldn't you?
Yeah, 63, I think, is the requirement now.
Yes, that's what I've got written down here.
Don Bess, as I mentioned, he's gone through the perils this season. He got 49 in the first innings against Leicestershire. But since then, Watt bowling to him now. He's gone Yorker length and he's been dropped into the gully, deep gully region. Alex Thompson fielding no run. So 49 first up, then 2, 13, 0, 0, 13, 0, 2 are his statistics. So he's due a few, I suppose, if you want to put a positive spin on it. And he tries to work away a sweep here. He's got right across outside off stump, and he's helped it on its way down to the lake end for 4 runs. A vacant fine leg, as you might imagine, with so many fielders round the bat to Bess. So 4 to him, 150 up for Yorkshire, 153 for 7.
Might be an alteration to the field here. They're going to have the leg slip in. Leas Deploy moving around from silly mid-off to leg slip. So he's going to get hit by the sweep.
59 needed, or 3 wickets for Derbyshire. Would be a first win of the championship season for Derbyshire, and of course would be a first win in any championship match since April the 17th, 2022 for Yorkshire, as Bess pushes one back up the pitch to Watt, and there is no run. Jeff Long says, hi, in the first championship match of the season, despite making more than 500, we contrived to lose the match. Yesterday, Derby were 225 runs behind with 6 second innings wickets remaining. And leaves that hanging, Jeff Long, as Bess pushes another one back up the pitch to complete that over, with Yorkshire on 153 for 7. BBC West Yorkshire Sport at gmail.com if you want to get in touch that way, or at Fletch Sports, or at Jonathan Doidge on Twitter, or what's your email?
Fletch Cricket at Gmail. I can't remember myself now. Fletch Cricket at Gmail. I was just slightly startled that Jeff called them Derby. There is no team called Derby.
I thought you might pick him up on that. Nick Briggs also says, surely we're not going to blow a match where we had the first innings lead of 242, then reduce the opposition to 17 for 4 in the second innings, are we? I think we need to take a serious look at our coaching team. Had it been a football club, they would have been long gone.
Alex Thompson to continue from the lake, and he's bowling to Shan Masood. Goes back and just guides this out towards the cover boundary for a single. He moves up to 71, 154 for 7, 58. Yorkshire's requirement now. But I don't think they're too disappointed to have given Shan a single, because they want to attack the new batsman, the lower order batsman, Don Bess.
Yorkshire, incidentally, still Jordan Thompson, who I'm sure will be next, and then Ben Code to come, both of whom are capable, of course.
Of course. A few people have taken up the offer of free entry to what remains of this game here at Queen's Park. As Thompson is in to bowl to Bess, pushes it out into the offside, comes in to do the fielding.
It's good to see a few in, isn't it? Because Yorkshire have had a few tight finishes in recent years, and they're not always backed up in terms of the excitement level by the level of spectators.
To the food and drink outlets haven't bothered to open, but Thompson bowls, and a big hit out into the leg side by Bess. It's picked up by Mark Watt, backward square leg. They go through for another single. Bess moves on to 155 for 7.
Yeah, it did feel a little bit more aggressive, didn't it, than the 4 he just hit in the previous over.
Proper swing of the bat, but I think it was the inside edge of the bat down to backward square leg. Again, alterations to the field, left hand, right hand partnership out there at the moment, and Lewis Deploy is currently directing traffic. The short leg has come out and is going in at silly mid-on, or short mid-on really. It's not particularly silly. It's very, very straight, and therefore Bess has to go a little wider at the non-strikers end. Next delivery from Thompson is pushed out into the offside by Masood to Deploy, his opposite number, the Derbyshire skipper. 155 for 7 it remains. You could cut it with a knife.
And other cliches.
Absolutely. This one is a cut shot. It's out to the boundary for 4, out to extra cover. There's a man chasing around, but he's not going to get there, Lewis Rees. 4 more runs to the total. 55 to win now. Masood moves up to 75. 159 for 7.
That's his 10th 4.
Thank you, Kate.
53, the requirement then, or 3 wickets.
I missed something off. I could have done. Yeah, I did. Next delivery is just guided down to fine-ish leg where Chappell does the fielding. 52 to win. Yeah, you better keep charge of how many is to win. 160 for 7. 52 I reckon.
52 to win.
76 to Masood. 5 to Don Bass. I'd already gone wrong. I've already been going. Oh, I
Not
added
sure
one.
if I can take the responsibility, to be fair.
No, I added one on, you see. Yesterday I was adding them on.
Sally M, good morning to you. Says, just woken up to see Milan gone first ball. Yorkshire shown how to pull defeat from the jaws of victory. Is it psychological? Are they scared to win? What a start, JD, says Andy Walker. Don't know if I can listen, but of course I will. Thanks so much for the comms. However, this turns out, well, it's turned out to be a cracking game of cricket, whichever way it goes. And that's all you can say in these circumstances as the commentator. We've seen it both ways in the last few years with Yorkshire, as that's driven into the offside by Masood. Mark Watt continuing from the pavilion end, but it couldn't get past Harry Kane at cover. 160 for 7. Number 51 in back, Mark Watt. In again, leg stumpish and pushed into the leg side this time by Masood. No run. Remember, Yorkshire, well, they managed to snatch a win by 1 run against Northamptonshire at Headingley not so long ago. And this year, they lost a tight one, didn't they, to Durham by 1 wicket. So they've been on one side and the other as Masood pushes another delivery into the onside, so they don't lose them all. But in the last year or so, those tight ones seem to have been escaping the county, as Masood is across and dropping this one out into the offside. And there's no run. David Coleman thinks they should, I'm not sure if he should opt for the circus or the cricket when he goes to Scarborough for the return fixture. As Masood steps back to try and cut a ball that does not bounce and goes underneath his bat. And it's a good job for Shan Masood that was not on off stump, but more like about 4th or 5th. 76 to Masood. In outfield to him. They're prepared to give him 1 square on either side of the wicket. But they've got men in catching positions as well. Slip, short leg, and about 18 yards or so off the bat, just to the onside of straight, is the Derbyshire captain, Lewis Deploy. In comes Watt once again over the wicket. Masood, who's already been involved in a run-out mix-up with George Hill yesterday. Well, basically he ran George out. He's just flicked it into the leg side, and there was a moment where there was a thought of taking a risky single, but they haven't done so. End of the over, 160 for 7.
First maiden over of the day.
Robert says, "Reek, good game this one, Duck. Cricket at its best. Come on, Derbyshire."
And Noah's watching after finishing his maths GCSE. It's a short exam, isn't it? What's going on there now?
Piece of cake.
Not Fred Titmus says you can tell Jonathan Doidge is discombobulated. He couldn't even bring himself to demand the over and ball of Milan's wicket.
Thompson begins a new over to Don Bess, who just turns it very wristily out towards the mid-wicket boundary. Mark Watt runs around. He stopped it of a fashion, and they've come back for 2. Got his body in the way, but pushed it around the boundary's edge. 162 for 7 now, and it's a 50 to win for Yorkshire. 3 more wickets for Derbyshire, having picked up the wicket of David Milan from the first ball of the day. Thompson is in and bowls. There's a big appeal for leg before wicket as he tries to sweep it into the leg side, but umpire Tom Lungley not interested on this occasion. Keeps his hands firmly clasped in front of him, and it remains 162 to 7. 7 to Don Bess, 76 to the skipper Shan Masood. Thompson is in, and that one is an interesting looking shot with one hand up towards mid-on. He gets away with it because the ball hits the deck quite quickly, fielded by Lewis Rees. And Bess moves on to 8, 163 for 7.
Matthew Fisher just going for a wander to ease the tension. Morning, Fish.
There we go. He's in a world of his own now, wasn't he? Deep in concentration. Georgie likes to say hello to everybody as they walk past. Thompson bowls and Masood cuts, but straight to Ben Aitchison, a backward point, deepish backward point, and there's no run.
Do you have something against greetings?
Well, only when people when they're walking past, I just think it's a slightly pointless exercise. But Thompson around the wicket again, a flatter delivery. Masood defends it straight back to Lamb. He's very close in on the onside, very straight and close. Got the helmet on and the fielding pads. Mark Lamb standing with his arms folded at the moment. Now he gets himself ready because Thompson's in again from the lake end. Bowls to Masood, almost gets through. Hit the bat, bounced back towards the stumps but missed them. Collected by Brooke Guest. End of the over. 163 for 7. 8 to Bess. 76 to Masood. 49 to win for Yorkshire. 3 more wickets for Derbyshire.
Jack Dudman says there's disastrous starts, and then there's the first ball this morning. Were those commentary box sweepstakes in Yorkshire's defeat suggested by the prescient correspondent on day 2 ever undertaken?
Did I miss it, Jess? Or is it this one? I think it's this one. This sounds like hot chocolate. So Mark Watt's going to continue. We're going to do an update for Radio Derby. Just an update, hopefully, is it? As Watt is in around the wicket and bowls, and that one is cut away nicely by Bess for 4 runs. They need 45 to win now. Don Bess moves into double figures. He's on 12, 167 for 7. Shan Masood still the key at 76. But that was a nice shot from Don Bess. Here's Mark Watt again. In and bowls. Bess threatens to take a step towards him. In the end, stays where he is in his stance, and the ball is fielded by Harry Kame, fielding at mid-wicket. Top balls are good, but not necessarily what Derbyshire want. Watt is in a floating delivery that's full, and it's clipped out towards the mid-wicket boundary. Harry Kame has to chase it. There's nobody out there. Is he going to get there before it gets to the boundary? He is, and they come back for 3. So an expensive over so far, but Mark Watt looks the most likely, along with Alex Thompson. 170 for 7. Here comes Watt in over the wicket, bowls to Masood, who defends. And it's pushed back towards the Scotland international, and there's no run. So 76 to Masood, 15 to Don Bess. Milan going first, ball. Watt in again. Bowles, and Masood is sweeping a big appeal, going down leg. Oh, he's given him. No, he hasn't given him. No, he's changed his mind. I thought for a moment he'd given him, and then he's changed his mind. Well, that is interesting. Here comes the update. No, it's tense here, Martin. It's tense. We've just seen one of the more bizarre moments of this game, and there have been many. Mark Watt bowled a delivery, appealed for leg before wicket against Shan Masood. It looked as though the umpire had given it, much to the surprise of pretty much everybody out there, because it looked like it was going down leg anyway. And then he changed his mind and said no, and waved his arms in front of him to say, no, I've changed my mind and I'm not giving him. They have got a wicket already, though. David Milan for naught, first ball of the day. Yorkshire have moved on to 170 for 7. Shan Masood's on 76. Dom Bess is on 15. And what all that means is that Yorkshire need 42 more runs to win this game. They haven't won a championship match since last April. Derbyshire have won more recently last season, but they haven't won this season. So both sides looking for their first win of 2023. And Derbyshire need 3 more wickets, 170 for 7. Well, it's likely to go down to the wire. It's extremely tense here. Derbyshire only need 3 good balls. They have that in their favour. 3 good balls and they get 3 wickets. It's job done. Whereas the longer they don't take a wicket between now and the next one, if you know what I mean, the more Yorkshire will fancy their chances. 42 runs isn't an awful lot to play with, so it really is on a knife edge.
Chat in the commentary box for 25 minutes during or after this game, after telling us how well it was going earlier on, and after several collapses in 4-day matches, is it time to give James Wharton a chance in place of Rev or George Hill in the middle order, says John Story. Those are other people's decisions.
First ball of a new over from Alex Thompson is guided down to the vacant third man area by Dom Bess. He picks up another single. Just talk me through what happened. Did he give it out and then change his mind, or did he signal it was missing and then everybody looked? I mean, Mark Watt looked surprised.
Well, he appeared to be. I think he appeared to be suggesting that Mark Watt sort of ran down in front of him and he couldn't really see properly what had gone on. In which case, he should have been warning him for running on the pitch.
Yes, well, yes.
But Kate says, looking at the replay, it was well outside off stump when it hit him anyway.
Yeah.
And Shan was expressing huge surprise when he was down on one knee, wasn't he? Anyway, we got to the other side of it and basically it was a dot.
Yes, this next delivery is cut away by Shan Masood out towards Mark Watt on the cover boundary for another single. 40 exactly the requirement now as Yorkshire move on to 172 for 7. Masood on 77. Dom Bess back on strike. He's got 16. It was one of those bizarre ones, and you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. I had hot chocolate in my ears, and that isn't the drink.
You sexy thing.
Indeed. So I was trying to concentrate on the cricket and listening to hot chocolate at the same time, which is, I don't think it's ideal.
Well, I suppose you'd be going back for a revisit, will you, if Derbyshire win this for everyone's a winner?
Yeah. So you win again.
Something like that.
Something I can't remember.
Hopefully not. It started with a kiss. Anyway. Can't remember any of our days played doing that in this match.
No. There's a long discussion going on here at the moment between Alex Thompson and Lewis Rees after Leicester Ploy left the discussion, but he's now started a discussion with Wayne Madsen. I think there's going to be a lot of this over the course of the day's play.
I had a couple of discussions with the ducks and the geese because, as you know, I'm friendless. I went for a walk around the lake just to see it for myself.
Did you enjoy the lake?
It is sort of it's barely visible, isn't it?
I don't know. I've never seen it. I've never been down the far end of the ground.
There's a real arboreal feeling about the place. You can't see the lake for the trees.
Thompson bowls it, swept by Dom Bess and fielded at leg slip along the floor by Ben Aitchison. Stifled appeals for something or other.
I did see Puffin Billy.
Did you?
Yeah.
Lovely. Say hello to him.
I took a photo of Puffin Billy.
Did you?
Yeah.
It's all going off here. Thompson bowls, driven off the outside edge of the bat, out to backward point. Single taken to Zach Chappell. Best moves on to 17 rather, 173 for 7.
It's not the largest of lakes. Put it this way, I saw Graham Souness this morning who's going to be swimming the channel.
Yes.
It'd take him a few ups and downs to cover the 21 miles in that lake.
I didn't think it would be as big as the channel, I have to admit, but the alternative is the council house end, and I'm not sure about that. The council headquarters end. Masood plays this next delivery from Alex Thompson out into the offside, fielded by Deploy.
How come we've not been down to the lake? Do you still need your armbands?
It's too far. It's all the way over there, look. I've got no reason to walk over there.
Well, you could say hello to the ducks and the geese.
Yes, exactly. I've got no reason to walk all the way over there. I don't talk to animals. Well, not wild ones, anyway. David Griffin, perhaps. As around the wicket comes Thompson. It's pushed into the leg side. They go through for a quick single by Masood, and there's an appeal for a run out, but he's home. Is Dom Bess. 174 for 7. He moves on to 78. Does the Yorkshire captain, 38 to win. You had something amusing to say, don't you? Has the moment passed?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Balderdash said he's got a clear view, and it seemed that the umpire was gesturing and telling Watt very firmly to get off the pitch.
Okay. So he was giving it not out, but just saying, get off there.
Don't be running there.
Russ Walker, good morning to you. And Fletch, he says, my tension is now replaced with concern. Why are we still here when Yorkshire should have wrapped the game up in days ago? It speaks volumes about how poor we currently are with both bat and ball in the 4-day game. And Dom Bess is walking towards us, having put his bat down on the field of play, but removed his left glove.
Do you think when he slid in for that run out, he's got grit on his glove? They don't like that, do they, batsmen?
Possibly so. He's changing his gloves. He's just thrown his other ones down by the advertising board. So back to Russ's correspondence, suggesting that Yorkshire have been poor with both bat and ball in the 4-day game. No quick fix, he says, unfortunately, and there's much work to be done over the next few seasons to rectify this situation. Please, P.S., he says, get on the front foot, batters, not on the back. We've already seen Dom Bess go back to one earlier and played a lovely cut shot, but yeah, you do sort of hold your breath when anybody goes back at the moment, and particularly from this pavilion end, where not only in the latter stages of this game but throughout there have been deliveries that have kept on the low side.
I think we've got to the superstitious position now where even the 12th man can't move in the changing room, and that's why he had to come and fetch his own gloves. They don't like moving, do they, when they found a seat that's apparently lucky.
Yorkshire 2s and Derbyshire as well in the finals day for 2's T20 tomorrow, is that right?
Tomorrow at 10:30, I believe.
Down at Wormsley.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Mark Watt, left arm over the wicket and bowling here to Shan Masood, who tried to drive that one. He's just shown us through the covers and got no sort of contact on it really, and it just dribbled back up the pitch towards Mark Watt, who is quickly back, giving Masood little time to think about it here. He's over the top of this one, pushing out into the onside. Harry came on his toes at covering and returning that one over the top to Brooke Guest. High dodgy, says Malcolm Palmer, just as well as no Division 3, or you'd soon be commentating on a derby against Lincolnshire. What a disaster. And that's even if we scrape home. God, wins are disasters now for Yorkshire. As Masood gets a ball full of length on leg stump and just flicks it round the corner beyond the grasp of Matt Lamb at short leg for 1 run. Reduces the runs required to 47. Still 3 more wickets for Derbyshire.
37.
So it's 37.
Yes, 37.
Yeah, 37. Can't add up. Well, you know that if you listen regularly. Stephen Bell says, morning JD, David and Kate. What the hell is going on? Have Yorkshire been playing on a different pitch to Derbyshire since yesterday afternoon? The second innings is in Tattersall, and I shan't be surprised if they lose from here. Certainly not their best performance. Maybe it was just a deploy by Derbyshire to lull us into a false sense of superiority. Then we came like a lamb to the slaughter.
What on earth is that all about?
I bet he spent hours composing that.
You'd hope he didn't spend hours.
That's an overnighter, that, isn't it?
Good grief. Silly mid-off, short leg slip for Mark Watt, bowling to Dom Bess.
Yeah, and swept by Dom Bess. And I thought he'd just lobbed that one up in the air for a moment. Then it looked like it was back of the bat, something like that.
Just grabbed me right arm. I thought it was a different over.
Well, there have been a few stoppages in it, and in comes Watt again. That's pushed out into the offside by Bess, who takes on Rees and gets through for a single. 18 to Dom Bess, 176 for 7 Yorkshire. 36 needed, or 3 wickets. They've added therefore 29 this morning, following the loss of David Milan, the first ball of the day. Changing the field because the left-handed Masood is back on strike, and he's opening the face and running this one down to backward point. He's going to come back for a second as well because the fielder doesn't have the ball in his hand just yet. So back for 2 more. And Watt takes his cap. He's floppy. It's the end of the over. 178 for 7. Bess 18 and 81 to Shan Masood, who of course made 67 first time around. Tension. Well, when do we get to that point? We talked about there's a moment.
Yeah, I thought we got to it yesterday, in fairness, and Derbyshire came back, so I'm not sure. That was a 24-yard delivery from Mark Watt, that last one, definitively. Hasn't bowled many, I don't think, in this match. Will bowl plenty in the T20, but not in this match. Dom Bess back on strike. And now another conversation, just passing, Wayne Madsen has just passed Liz to deploy his sunglasses, which he's immediately put on the top of his cap. A leg slip and a short leg for Dom Bess, in addition to the wicketkeeper, of course. As Alex Thompson begins a new over from the Lake End, bowls, gives that one a bit of air and turned into the leg side by Bess, fielded by the Derbyshire skipper, Duploy. He's got a backward point, man at cover. There's a man out at mid-wicket, there's a man on the backward square leg boundary. As Thompson's in again, that one is a real loopy one, and it's driven away for 4 runs by Bess. He definitely gave it more air, gave Bess the time as it landed to turn it into a half volley and crash it away to the extra cover boundary for 4 runs. He moves to 22, 182 for 7 now. Yorkshire need 30.
Cracking shot, wasn't it? Just a bit too much width. There's been few really loose deliveries this morning.
That wasn't a good one. What's his reply? It's turned into the leg side, this next delivery from Bess, and they think about 2. Watt's already there, though, so they settle for a single. No need to push it too much for Yorkshire. Plenty of time. Interestingly, Zach Chappell must be warming up, otherwise he is warming up. So we might see the concussion substitute have a say at the end of this match. 183 for 7, 29 for Yorkshire to win. 3 more wickets for Derbyshire.
Probably written, that, Fletch. The way this match has gone.
It's been a fascinating contest that could have been over in 2 days. Thompson bowls to Masood, goes back and cuts out towards Mark Watt on the cover boundary. They pick up another single. Masood moves to 83, 185.
82.
Moves up to 82. See, they don't move the little dot next to his name quickly enough for me. They move up to 82, on 84. Thank you, Kate, for 7. There is Thompson again. Bowls to Bess, who guides this off the inside half of the bat, down towards fine leg. Watt gets there quickly. Oh, and he doesn't pick it up cleanly, and they do get back for 2. If he'd picked that up cleanly, it might have been in with a shout. But he didn't quite get it cleanly, and disappointing.
Yeah, I was about to say the piece of fielding on the boundary edge just before that I thought was better than we gave it credit for, because the ball bounced a couple of times, sort of Barnes-Wallace style, on its way towards him, and it could have skewed off in an awkward angle. but he kept his eye on it all the way, so he's probably got one there and then got one against him.
Thompson bowls, Best defends, back towards the bowler to finish the over. 186 for 7, 25 to Dom Best, 82 to Shan Masood. Yorkshire 186 for 7. They need 26 more runs only now to win this game. Derbyshire still need 3 wickets.
But you wouldn't say that that is impossible by any stretch of the imagination. Look at what happened yesterday evening, for example. Just 14 minutes it took for 3 wickets to fall in precisely 3 overs, I think it was. Johnny Tattersall, LBW, to Alex Thompson for 22. Matthew Fisher was bowled by Mark Watt for 4. Matthew Revis caught without scoring off the bowling of Mark Watt by Wayne Madsen. So they have fallen in clumps. But there is going to be a change in Watt.
Zach Chappell.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So one of those where ball coming onto the bat, I think there's a feeling from both sides that they'd be more confident against seam as the ball has got older and the pitch has been increasingly subject to the plenty of sunshine that we've had here, and it's been a bit more tricky to deal with. There's fairly sizable changes in the field, as you might imagine, to the seamer here. They've still got the slip in place. It's going to be Shan Masood, left-handed on strike. Long leg is being moved around to third man. Third man that is coming up, presumably to somewhere like point. There's a sweeper out on the cover boundary.
Dom Best is getting his arm guard.
Watt's last spell was 7 overs, 3 for 40. So quite expensive.
A little expensive, yes.
So the setup they're going with is slip, gully, point, third man, cover sweeper, extra cover, Matt Lamb. Lee has deployed, positions himself at mid-off. Mark Watt at mid-on. There's a straight mid-wicket. And in comes Zach Chappell, right arm around the wicket, and Masood walking into the shot and then dropping it out towards point. There is no run. Looking for another fielder on the leg side, backward of square. Can't see anybody unless somebody's merged into the boards of spectators out there. So there's nobody behind square on the leg side. So Zach Chappell really does have to be very careful with his line here. Wouldn't want to gift a couple of easy boundaries. Here he comes then down the incline from the pavilion end. It's gone well wide of off stump this time, and Masood disdainfully really just watches it go by through the gloves of Brooke Guest. There's no run. It's good to see quite a few in. Fletch mentioned earlier, we've still got the breeze that we've had throughout this match. The flags on the council buildings opposite, the Union flag and the Ukraine flag, both blowing out horizontally. Looks like it's easterly, southeasterly, something like that again. As Puffin Billy goes by, and here is Chappell bowling to Masood, who drives just wide of deploy, but he gets across the Derbyshire captain to do the fielding. No run. 40 minutes of play so far this morning. Yorkshire resumed on a 147 for 6, and then lost David Milan. First ball of the day caught by Lamb off Watt without scoring. Added 39 runs since then for this 8th wicket. Masood 82 to his name, waits, and Chappell comes in, and there you go. He's straight down the leg side on the hip of Shan Masood. He can't bowl it there with nobody behind square on the leg side, and he's been picked off for 4.
Just a poor delivery, isn't it, from Zach Chappell, unfortunately for him. Doherty had flagged it up. There is nobody out there. It's a 7-2 offside field. Man at mid-wicket, man at mid-on, and that's it. Nobody was going to catch that.
22 required, or 3 wickets for Derbyshire. Chappell trying to take one of those, but Masood goes at this one. He's lofted aerially over the top of some position in the cordon and pulled in down at third man, but they've got back for 2 more. 20 the requirement.
We're getting to that point, Doherty, we're getting to that point.
Yeah, the point we're talking about, for those who've not been listening throughout, is that point where you kind of lose the belief in the field that you can do this. Certainly would have had that first ball of the day with the same amount of runs for Yorkshire to get and one fewer wicket. But they've scored pretty quickly since then. Here's Chappell coming in again to Masood, who drives through the covers this time. There is a sweeper out there. Harry came down with the long barrier to keep them to 1. So Masood on to 89, and it's 193 for 7 at the end of the 47th over. Just 19 needed for Yorkshire, 3 wickets still for Derbyshire.
They're going to keep Alex Thompson on. No, they're not. They're going to swap Mark Watt to the Lake end. Has had some success from that end. It'll take them a while just to sort themselves out. Lancashire 94 for 3, need a further 46 to beat Hampshire in that game being played at Southport. Somerset 203 for 4, they need a further 263 to win. That's against Essex at Chelmsford, and Notts are 285 for 4 against Warwickshire in their second innings, following on and still trailing by 131. Surrey 287 for 3, they need a further 214 to beat Kent. At Canterbury, Glamorgan are in trouble at Chester Street, 180 for 5 in their second innings, still trailing Durham by 60 as Mark Watt begins a new over from the Lake end. Masood just pushes it into the leg side. Gloucestershire 47 for 2 in their second innings, leading Leicestershire by 65 in a rain-affected match at Bristol. Watt comes in again to the Yorkshire skipper Masood, who sweeps it in the air out towards the mid-wicket boundary, and he's going to get away with it, and he's going to get 4 runs. He wasn't entirely in control of that shot, Shan Masood, but it matters not. Yorkshire's target is reduced to just a further 15 runs now. Masood moves up to 93. Yorkshire 197 for 7. In the only other game that I haven't mentioned, Sussex 407 for 6 in their second innings, leading Worcestershire by 345 down at Hove. Here, as the 2 batsmen have a chat in the middle of the pitch, Yorkshire 197 for 7, 15 more runs required for victory. 93 to Shan Masood, 25 to Dom Bess. And these two have added exactly 50 since they came together at the fall of the last wicket. David Milan off the first ball of the day, which really did boost Derbyshire's hopes. Now it's Yorkshire's to lose, as Watt is in over the wicket and bowls to Masood, one that keeps low and misses the stumps and goes through to Brooke Guest. Nearly worked, Dodgy, nearly worked.
I'm going to say I could see what you were trying to do there.
Nearly. I don't think I've got many more in me. 197 for 7. It remains. We've seen a number of balls from yesterday onwards really keep low. Many more since yesterday. That one's turned into the leg side by Shan Masood out towards Glenn Chappell, blimey. Zach Chappell, wrong county. Different age, different era. 198 for 7 now, 94 to Masood, 14 to win.
At least you didn't say Ian Chappell.
No,
Or Glenn Campbell.
Glenn Campbell would have been hopeless, wouldn't it? Because it would have been neither of his names.
He's a lineman for Derbyshire County.
Very good.
Zach Chappell,
Yes.
apparently.
We're going to have another close fielder here. I think we're going to have the leg slip. Ben Aitchison dons the helmet. Short leg, silly mid-off. Wayne Madsen at slip. The man at cover just moving a little squarer. Nobody really out anymore. Derbyshire need wickets and they need them quickly. 3 of them. Yorkshire need 14. Bess waits as Watt comes in around the wicket and bowls to him, and he goes back into his crease and pushes this out into the offside, fielded by Alex Thompson. Sorry,
Every time anyone goes back.
Yeah, shouldn't go back.
Well, it's just the natural shot to play
Yes.
to that length of ball, isn't it?
Yeah, go back, watch it shoot along the front floor. Watt bowls. This one is pushed into the offside. Nicely fielded there by Lewis Deploy at silly mid-off, and the over comes to an end. 14 required then, 198 for 7 Yorkshire, 94 to Masood, 25 to Dom Bess. Derbyshire need 3 wickets, and I'm going to say here and now, I don't think they're going to get them.
Keep trying.
I will. Well, in different ways.
Do you think Masood will be having an eye on his potential century here? Maiden for Yorkshire?
Well, he'll have an eye on it, won't he? But I think it's just about getting the job done. I think he's scored enough of those already to not be worrying about individual feats here. This is much, much bigger than that for Yorkshire, given
and for him,
how
really.
long it is. But what a way for the county, if they're good enough to do this, to get across the line. What a way for your new captain to play his part. 198 for 7, as Fletch says. 14 needed by Yorkshire, 3 wickets by Derbyshire. Alex Thompson, after that over by Zach Chappell, coming on at the pavilion end then with his off spin, bowling round the wicket to the left-handed Masood, who pushes back up the pitch. They've gone slip, short leg, catching position at a shortish extra cover. Zach Chappell is just down to our right at long off. Long on is out all the way as well. There's a straightish mid-wicket and a deep backward square leg, as well as a point and a cover sweeper as he beats the bat this time. Just a little flick at that by Shan Masood. Felt like Alex Thompson might have pushed it through a little bit quicker. Off spin, of course, left-hander. He is bowling the off spinner, trying to challenge the outside edge of Masood's bat. Thompson in again, very wide on the crease. Masood does steps back and is able to cut this one with some authority. Harry came down to field and they take the 1. 13 needed. Lily, good morning to you listening in. She says Shan Masood is the key to Yorkshire winning this game. My nerves are on edge. Bennett in exile, you're missing no action. There's a chat here between Thompson and Deploy. Bennett in exile says, send Fletch away on a course in expressing emotion during an exciting match. His flat delivery sucks all the pleasure out of it. Definitely not. He's just Fletch, isn't he? You know exactly what you get with the man. Win or lose, I think. And he's ridden the peaks and troughs in this game just like he does.
Thanks for the message, though.
Thompson in, that's flicked over. Long on by Don Bess. They're getting closer. That 4 wide of long on takes him to 29. And Yorkshire now needing 9. 3 needed by Derbyshire. Morning, JD, says Steve Haley. Incredibly tense stuff, but great viewing. I'd like to see Yorkshire play an extra specialist bat rather than pack the all-rounders. And have a word with Shan about his running, please. Changes in the field again. Got to do this, and we talked about this, didn't we, yesterday, I think, when we had that slight difference of opinion in terms of how they go about it. The in-out, they've still got out as well as in here, because they've got to protect the boundaries as well as try and take the wickets. So Lewis Rees has been brought across to mid-wicket, saving 2 effectively. It's fairly deep as Bess props forward. That's turned around the corner. Leg slip in place, short leg slip. 203 for 7. Bess on 29. Right over the top of that, Don Bess, and pushing into the offside, takes on the field. Haider Ali, who winged it in quite nicely over the top, but Bess was quickly through and takes Yorkshire closer still. 8 needed, 30 not out to Don Bess come the end of that over. 48 complete in this match, 95 not out for Shan Masood. Is there going to be a final twist to this one, Fletch?
No. No, I don't think so. Do you?
I don't know.
But I'm just being dour. You can always switch off. Mark Watt from the Lake End. Potentially the final over, who knows? He's bowling to Don Bess, who defends this first delivery back out towards the Scotland international, who fields bending down and thrusting his left hand towards the ball. 204 for 7, 8 to win. 3 wickets for Derbyshire. They've got 1 of them today, but they still need 3 more. This next delivery is turned into the leg side. Bess sets off for a single and is sent back by Shan Masood. Ben Aitchison runs after the ball and basically falls over and puts his chin on the floor. Good job he's wearing his helmet. It's quite bizarre.
Gymnastics.
The shot is a dot ball. Here comes Watt again. Around the wicket, bowls to Bess, who plays this one down into the ground, fielded by Lewis Deploy at silly mid-off.
Andy Mack says, I've been on a 2-day bender celebrating beating Derbyshire by tea on day 2. What's happening? Are we playing them again?
Watt in again. Bess sweeps, doesn't really make contact with it, but gets 4 runs because it goes very fine, down a fine leg. And Yorkshire are now 1 blow away from victory. I can relax now. Until they take 2 wickets and 2 balls, and then we start scrapping.
Graham Colley, good afternoon. Good morning to you, Graham. Great to hear from you as well. Putting aside all the drama and tension, he says, what an innings this is in the circumstances by Shan Masood. Played with great composure, and his offside play, particularly square of the wicket, has looked effortless. Mark Watling bowling here to Dom Bess, who's easing this one into the leg side. And there is no run. They've still got the leg slip, Ben Aitchison. First slip, or orthodox slip, Wayne Madsen. Matt Lamb, I think, is the man still under the helmet at short leg.
Lewis Deploy will be at silly mid-off, but he's currently leaning on Mark Watt's shoulder, having a conversation with him very casually. So there was nothing to it, as if there was no tension. And this is a lengthy discussion to say that Yorkshire only need 4 runs. I suppose it's the only advice he can give him is if you could take a hat-trick, Mark, that'd be handy. Otherwise, Derbyshire are going to the foot of the 2nd division. For the time being, at least.
Still got a further hold up here just to wring out the tension a little bit more.
What on earth is going on now? Wayne Madsen seems to be wandering towards the pavilion.
More helmets required.
All right. They've now got a man on the leg side, so a very short mid-on. Looks like Harry Kane wants a helmet. I think Potts has found his own shirt today, which is nice. He was wearing one of Alex Thompson's yesterday when he was doing 12-man duties. He's got his own helmet now, his own shirt now. He's brought the helmet on for Harry Kane. So 5 helmeted fielders, including the wicket-keeper, out there now. He might only wear it for 1 delivery.
Keen to get close to Dom Bess. Mark Watt then. We're going to finally see this next delivery. Left arm round the wicket from the lake end to Bess, who flicks it into the leg side. That's going to be 1. They're going to come back for a 2nd. Will they risk a 3rd? No. Yes, they're going to go back for a 3rd as well. Bess going to the non-striking end. And that takes Yorkshire level with Derbyshire. 1 run to win. Thought it looked a little bit risky taking that 3rd, but actually they got home comfortably in the end.
Comfortable in the end, weren't they? Still a tie. I've never seen a tie in the Championship. I'm not going to see one today either, but it's a nice thought.
T20 game at Headingley the other year. Yorkshire beat Lancashire, looking like they were going to lose by the virtue of a Lockie Ferguson hat-trick to finish the match.
Nice.
So, Alex Thompson, over to you.
They're all former Derbyshire players that are your best players, is that right? Lockie Ferguson, Shan Masood. Lured by the bright lights of the big city and the large paycheck.
So 1 to win for Yorkshire, 3 wickets for Derbyshire. And Alex Thompson bowling here to Dom Bess. Floats this one up. That's going to be it. Bess pulls it through straight mid-wicket. 4 runs to him. 41 not out. Yorkshire have won it by 3 wickets. My goodness, there have been some dark days in Championship cricket for Yorkshire since their last win which was completed on the 17th of April 2022. 17 matches without success, but there is now light at the end of the tunnel. They have beaten Derbyshire here at Chesterfield in an enthralling game of cricket by those 3 wickets. Shan Masood finishing 95 not out against his former club, and Dom Bess, who has been struggling for runs and under immense pressure this morning after the dismissal of David Milan, first ball of the day, finishing on 41 not out.
I suppose it was just too much for Derbyshire to fight back for a third time, really, in this game. They'd fought back twice from 26 for 6, from 17 for 4. They got themselves in front, but in the end it wasn't quite enough. They weren't allowed to complete their innings, and the concussion substitute was made. Might have made a difference. A few more runs. Who knows? It's all ifs and buts. And yeah, Yorkshire win. We'll see you on Sunday, Doji. We've got a score to settle.
T20 game here, of course, on Sunday afternoon. Yorkshire 5 straight wins in that. Will we see David Milan following that groin issue that kept him out of the game here yesterday? What we are going to see is handshakes all around, which will be good to see, actually, after some tense moments, shall we say, out there on the field during the last few days. And in they come, and at the back of the queue are the 2 Yorkshire batters who've seen this off in the end. As Fletch says, just one comeback too many for Derbyshire, but we genuinely didn't know how we were going to call this before play started this morning. And of course, after that dismissal of Milan, first ball of the day, we certainly didn't know which way this one would go, but they've been good enough to see it through in the end. Let's just wrap up with those Derbyshire bowling figures second time around, with Yorkshire finishing on 215 for 7 and knocking off those runs in 50.1 overs. Zach Chappell 8 overs for 30. Mark Watt 18 overs, 5 maidens, 4 for 74. Lewis Rees 6 overs for 24. Alex Thompson 15.1 overs, 1 maiden, 2 for 63. And Ben Aitchison 3 overs for 22. Yorkshire, well, they're finally moving places in the right direction in the Division 2 Championship table.
Until next week. 215 for 7 is the winning total. 3 wickets, the margin of victory. We did know how we were going to call it. We were going to call it dourly. Thanks for listening.